Загроза національній економіці. Брифінг проведе Mykola Topchiev, начальник управління аналітики Укрзалізниці. Our next topic is railway infrastructure damage in the Atto area as a threat to the national economy. And the briefing will be held by Mykola Topchiev, who is the head of the analytical department of Ukrzaliznytsya.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to inform that because the infrastructure of railways has been destroyed, Donetsk railway received less income compared to the last year by 15.4%, which is more than 1.6 billion hryvnias less. I would like to mention that it's difficult to show all the destructions at the railway. Microphone, it's easier to show how we can repair them. Microphone. We go from Slavyansk via Yasinovato-Volnovakha to Mariupol, that is open, and the second one from Volnovakha, same way via this one to Pridniprovska railway, where you see red sections. All these are closed for traffic because a lot of rail is destroyed and bridges, tunnels, and other facilities. Also, because these facilities, this infrastructure is destroyed, there's no movement along the main directions. That is where there are main enterprises of Donetsk railway, which have big volumes of transportation, because the border crossings, railway border crossings are closed. Krasnomogyla and Kvashin, the traffic from Donetsk railway that was going to Russia and via Russia to the countries of the Middle East and Mongolia. Now this is channeled via Southern Railway, via the crossing of Southern Railway Topoli-Solovey, and that increased the distance in the average by 500 kilometers. And that led to increasing the operational expenditures for movement of one cargo train by 8,000 hryvnias, which a month accounts to more than 13 million hryvnias. Besides the financial losses of railway, the infrastructure also threatens possible that the powerful companies in this region will be stopped, like Yanakivsky steel plant, Alchevsky steel plant, Donetsk steel plant, Stirol, Donetsk steel rolling, Koksa chemical, Stirol, Azot, and other companies. They are cut off from supply of raw materials from other regions of Ukraine. They are cut off from supply of coking and coal from Donbass. First of all, that's all in Lugansk region, and that is quite a big threat and may lead to the decrease of GDP in general. To put it in detail, the volumes of the traffic by railway in July this year compared to July last year was reduced by 13.6%. the volumes of traffic in the first half year for 2014 compared to the same period last year reduced by 1.2%. The share of Donetsk and Lugansk regions in forming the trafficking accounts for almost 45% and in export 28%. The main traffic, cargo traffic that is formed in Donetsk and Lugansk Oblast are coal, black metal, and coke. The first reason is breaking the infrastructure and interrupted connection with the companies which are located in the zone of combat. Despite all these difficult conditions, we ensure the movement of trains. As of the 1st of August, we renewed 66 facilities out of 90 destroyed. The cost of the works accounted for 1 million hryvnias. We restored 6 facilities for the amount of 6 million hryvnias. The energy supply is reduced. We partially restored 25 kilometers of the electric lines. The equipment has been replaced. For that, almost 21 million hryvnias was spent. In the result of the combat, in May and July this year in Donetsk and other railways, more than 166 facilities of railway structure were destroyed. The losses of the railway because of the acts of terrorism account for almost 300 million hryvnias. That's approximate because we still need to analyze the destruction, and it's practically impossible to do that in the region of combat. In July, Donetsk Railway did not transported only 77% of cargoes compared to the same period of time last year. In Dniprovskaya Railway, they also did not transport the same amount of cargo. And the companies which suffered most are Yenakieva Metallurgical Plant, Krasnodon Vugilya, Lugansk Vugilya. In the zone of conflict, there are now many powerful companies which suspend their operations or reduce their operations. If there is the situation when metallurgical plant has to be stopped, that will lead to a very significant reduction of GDP. The volumes of cargo transported by railway of Ukraine in July 2014 compared to the similar period of the previous year was reduced by 5.2 million tons, or by 13.6%. The volumes of transporting the cargo in the first half year of 2014 compared to similar period of the previous year reduced by 2.6 million tons. And these are comparative figures of this year and last year. Because of the reduction of volumes of transportation, only within 6 months of this year, the railway failed to receive about 1 billion hryvnias. If the situation in the region is not stabilized, then by the end of the year the sector could lose approximately 3 billion hryvnias. During the ATO Donetsk Railway transported 74.4 million tons of cargoes, which is 13.1% less compared to the similar period of the previous year. The reasons to that: first of all, the ruined infrastructure, blocking of transportation of cargoes and passengers, and interrupted connection with enterprises in general. If we look at that from the point of view of transporting passengers and IDPs in 6 months,
by 9% less they carried than versus first part of last year. Then it's this year it's 15% less than last year, and free of charge carriage of 2,136 passengers from the area. The railway as the sector and Ukrzaliznytsya as the headquarters are taking all the necessary measures to restore the infrastructure and arrange carriage of cargoes in the area that was presented to you. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much for your presentation. Are there any questions to our speaker? The Central Council of Maidan Companies. The Russian Federation, tell us please, are there any losses on their side, on their part? The railway losses, because transportation in Russia stopped, and they also had some scope of cargoes. I would say that the transportation didn't stop, but the necessity to bypass certain areas along Donetsk Railway, that led to making the route longer by 500 kilometers via the South Railway. Also, it's longer now for the Russian Federation. This is additional operations cost, and I think their losses are quite sensitive. Same as here. Tell us, please, is there any information on the destroyed bridges during the ATOs and the restored ones? Thank you very much. In the places where you can calculate, you were very proactive in your commentary. At this point in the parts, in some parts of oblasts, I mean Luhansk and Donetsk Oblast, we cannot check all our facilities, and we cannot examine all of them because for the referential information that we have, according to preliminary interim data, more than 30%, 30 facilities. I mean, there's facilities that are important and that, if destroyed, prevent movement through the spans of river. Are they renovated? No, destroyed. Renovated, restored, I mentioned them already, and the restored ones, I would like to say that you should understand. This is, first of all, tracks, on the railway station tracks, and contact network, because to restore a bridge is totally different kind of funding costs and civil works. First of all, you have to find the bridge supports and the bridge spans, and we can, in many cases, we have no even access to such places. Can you give us some information on the time needed to restore the bridges and how much you will need for that in terms of money, without any cost estimate? And the cost estimate will be made when we can examine all the damaged infrastructure. But at this point, we can say that it will all depend on when they stop combat. We are used to some operational situations. We have emergencies on a regular basis. As soon as we have access to all the facilities, we will restore them. It will be a super urgent mode of operation if necessary to talking of the fixed assets, and we will be able to restore them and renovate them. It will all depend on whether the situation is normal and we can operate those facilities as normal. Are there any renovation and restoration works in the areas controlled by the terrorists? Our infrastructure that is located there, the railway stations, the spans of tracks, and our workers are maintaining the lines as far as they can, considering the situation, as usual, whenever they can. But there's no information because in some places, in many places, we have no communication. Have there been any incidents of threat to the railway workers because of their attempts to restore? I haven't heard of such cases, but from Donetsk Railway, we constantly receive information from the field, that is, that so-called Luhansk Donetsk People's Republic, their representatives are trying to interfere with maintenance of railway. Different occasions and different occurrences, but that is either preventing from dispatching the cargoes or uploading the cargoes or just partial upload and interference with the personnel. I have no knowledge of such incidents. Central Council of Maidan companies, well, we have these pictures very seldom on TV. It looks like the Second World War when Nazis would retreat and destroy everything after their retreat. Why your information campaign is so poor? You have to present such information to the public. And have you any intention to sue the Russian Federation for such enormous losses? I would like to say that as far as we can, with our press center, we highlight the events that are taking place in those hot spots in Ukraine. But we cannot say that we should sue Russia at this point. We're not ready with the claim. I think the process is ongoing, but we will by all means do that because there are lots of cases of obstruction. But we can, should we cover each case of devastation or damage? I don't think we should. In addition to that, I would like to say that railways of all the countries have them a different, slightly different purpose. The mission of railways and the personnel is to provide for the economy. And in the state we have all sorts of dependent and independent media taking care of that business. Our thing is maintenance and operations. Johan,
Television. Мы сейчас рассматриваем вопрос.
we are now looking into the issues of railway as a subject of national security. In Luhansk Oblast, people live without electricity, without water supplies, and many of them would like to leave the area. I understand that there's no passenger carriage from Donetsk and Luhansk. And what are the prospects of such carriage to Debaltseve and maybe even further to leave the region? I'd like to say that we always respond to requests, and the figures that we have announced at this point, for example, we have provided free of charge carriage, passenger carriage from the conflict area, 2,136 people. That means that we have response to such needs. And when the corridor was established for the civilians to leave Luhansk and the adjacent area, we are always prepared to pick them up at any railway station for passenger trains and intercity connections, commuting. But we cannot directly influence the situation. It's beyond our competence. But we are always ready to announce that if it is necessary and provide for the scope of carriage. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming and telling us about your situation. Thank you.